Mike and Dylan hate drama. Yeah, so welcome back to Mike and Dylan hate drama, where we give people advice when they send it in and want their lives cured. I don't know. How you feeling today?
I mean, I was up till 5:30 getting two daddies judging baddies out.
It is the hardest name to remember when there's another podcast.
And it's hard to say too, like and then trying to do 2D JB like that.
Just doesn't roll off the tongue.
Maybe when we get into it we'll finally get there where it's a normal thing, but yeah, it's a tough name. Oh, and I wanted to make a comment. You look at that camera a lot. That camera's not your camera. That camera's your camera.
I look at both cameras. I don't know where to look.
You're always looking at the main one.
I thought I was going to be a star. Listen, by this point in my life, I thought like I was going to be rolling in the cheddar. When I was 5, 6 years old, I watched the Hercules movie, and you remember the song, how's it go? I am on my way. I can go the distance. We're probably getting hit with like a lawsuit right now as we speak.
No, you suck bad enough.
You're right. That was like, that has to fall under parody. But I used to play that song in my head when I was like laying down. I am the corniest fucking guy. Like a lot of people, they're like, man, we love that Mike just airs it all out and doesn't hold anything back. And it's so much easier to just be like, hey, brother, I'm corny. Like I go down the road, I get all sad sometimes, man. Like this shit's hard. I be getting sad, man, and I'll throw on the Pokemon Johto theme song. You don't know nothing about that either.
Pokemon?
No, it's not that one.
No, that's the only one I know.
Everybody wants to be a master. Everybody wants to show their skill, bro. I put that on. That's like the shit I listen to. Like Tarzan.
That's your vibing too.
Yeah, Tarzan soundtrack, Brother Bear soundtrack. On my way. Like I just listen to shit that like brings you up.
I'm not an upper guy in any way, shape, or form. Not drugs, not music. I'm a folk, listen to some depressing stories type guy, or some rage metal or anything like that.
If I was listening to sad songs, I'd just kill myself. Like I have to like supplement my music taste with some upbeat stuff. So we do have 2 Am I the Assholes today, which honestly we might get sued by two daddies judging baddies
for stealing
their whole shtick.
Well, nobody sent in anything.
They stole from Smosh, and then Smosh stole from Too Hot Takes. I know so much about Reddit Am I the Asshole creators now. I've not watched a singular bit of their podcast. I don't give a fuck. People comment down, they'll be like, they use tablet screens to read theirs off of.
We're like cavemen.
We're solid. No, we're not cavemen. We're salt of the earth.
Okay.
I don't care how fucking rich we get. We're not buying a screen to read these off of. God made trees, okay, and then we cut that bitch down and turned it into paper. That is what this is holy, man. This is the holy man's podcast.
Yeah, we burned through a lot of paper though. I ended up buying a box of it, and that'll probably last us a couple months, hopefully, with how much we print off.
I do think we need to watch one Smosh episode and one Too Hot Takes episode so we can see how they got famous. Well, besides Smosh was famous back in the day, and then they were like, oh, we're back. And then everybody was like so nostalgic because they're a big part of their childhood. And now they do Am I the Assholes. It's so crazy when you think about it, though, because all these people that were like big on YouTube back in the day are now back, but they're doing like the popular thing. Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. When I read the first Am I the Asshole, that was Dylan's idea to do that. We had no idea there was a whole culture behind it. There was tons of there were people doing it.
I think I had run across a creator that was doing it. It was a girl, and she was doing a pretty good take on it. But I was like, if Mike did a funny take on these, I
wonder if it was the humor to
it. No, it was just one girl by herself.
But it's what the YouTube guys do, though. They come back and they'll be like, "We're here, and we're not going to do what you love. We're not going to make the content that you like. We're going to do crime stories like Ray William John." I remember when he used to make little cartoons back in the day.
Yeah.
And now he's like, wow, look at all this money you can make off of somebody. You know how fucking pissed I'd be if my daughter was like murdered and then I have to hear him telling the whole story. And he's like, but pause. And the whole thing pauses. And then he like rewinds it back a little bit. Oh, wow. That shit would make my skin boil. At least Am I the Assholes are, Smosh doing Am I the Assholes is just, it's stories that people wanted on the internet.
Well, and if it's somebody's individual story and they put it on a public forum, you've kind of given up the ability to get mad about people talking about it because you've blasted it out there yourself. Like if you don't want your daughter that's using napkins as tampons
That's rough,
being
man.
discussed on a podcast, then maybe you don't put it on Reddit and try to figure out whether you're the asshole or not, knowing full well that you are.
Can I tell them the secret of the first couple of Am I the Assholes we did?
You can.
All right. So I don't know, man. God made me gay or something because I can't, like I said, I can't like fuck people over. And it's just, I wish I could. All right. I wish I could just be like, all right, guys, Michael Coin's coming out this weekend and it's going to make everybody rich. I can't do it. So when we had the idea for, or when Dylan had the idea for the Am I the Assholes, I was just like, oh, you know, that might work because people are going to want to hear the story and they're going to wait longer in the video. I was like, but we're going to make up all the stories that we do originally. So originally, none of those stories were real. Not a singular one was off of Reddit because I was like, oh, I don't want to take someone else's story.
Well, that was your thing, was you were like, I don't want to, like, you know, get involved with somebody else's story that they told and all this other stuff. Like, you didn't want to, you know, basically take advantage of
that's making money off of somebody, what somebody has said.
And I tried to talk him into it. I was like, you know, technically they put it out there. It's their story, but it's not so much about you're stealing their story. You're commentating on their story, and it's your take on. And plus, I mean, for the most part, I don't know how often people get doxxed on Reddit, but for the most part, it's very anonymous. And I think one of the ones that I picked out for today's episode is it's a throwaway account, like, so people can hide in anonymity.
You know what the funniest shit is, though? There would always be one guy in the comments. You saw him too. He would always be like, "Man, these really feel like they're made up." Yeah. And everybody's like, "Oh, you're fucking stupid, buddy. This is the internet. Like, people, crazy shit happens. Okay, well, nobody lives in your boring life." And then the whole time, I'm just like, "He's on the money." Like, well,
I think the problem was that Mike was steering the ship of how those stories went, and so they were very Mike and Steve punching your boss, like outlandish stories.
Not all of them were about that. Some were about relationships.
Well, no, I'm just saying the ludicrousness of the story was like way on out there.
How more ludicrous can you get than sticking tampon or napkins?
That's just twisted. But
that's weird, man. I couldn't have came up with anything like that.
No, but like that's what I'm getting at, though, is like yours were in the Mike universe of fantastical stories. And
it's very weird, but it's, you know, people want to hear the haunted story.
Yeah.
And that's eventually why that demon thing left me alone, because he just got in my mind and he was like, what the fuck is this kid?
I say we just, if listeners submit advice or Am I the Assholes on their own accord, we take MADHD and we'll read some of those during it. But like right now, these are actual Reddit posts. I think let's go ahead and get into the haunted story. And like, if we don't have advice or anything to read, we go ahead and we do a lore episode.
Okay, well, I didn't have time to prepare, so I'm gonna be all over the place with this, which everybody's like,
that's par for the course.
Even if you did prepare, I would read something and be like, oh, but this one time with this other story, and then I would never finish that. And people would be like, where the fuck is that story at? Okay, so like I said, I'm not good with like how old I was, because I was young and everything was so fun. It felt like just like a blur, me screaming continuously until I got to here sitting in this chair. But I was like 5 or 6 or 7, 8, 5, 6, 7, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Between the ages of born and 18.
Yes, between those ages. So we moved to Jamestown, North Carolina. We moved into this trailer park. So I don't know how it worked out, because I don't really ask people about stuff that happened in the past, because then, you know, you hear stories about getting molested, and I was like, that's the last time I'm doing that. You get into like real deep family shit, which is all fucked up. And like I said, one day when we hit the million, we'll do the Joe Dirt episode where I air everything out, but it's fucking, that shit's crazy. So we moved down there, and within like the first week, I remember I had a Game Boy Color, which is dope. Especially, I know the SPs were out, but I didn't give a fuck. I had a Game Boy Color.
And you said you weren't rich.
Right, that's right. And I even had one of the things that connected where the light would shine.
Yeah.
So I'm on the back porch, like playing this thing at the new house, because I don't know if anybody else is like this or it's just my autism. I hate moving into a new house. I don't like how it smells, how it feels. It just feels weird, like I'm in a weird place. So I'm on the back porch. I think I was playing Pokemon Silver. Bro, love that game. I'm a big Silver stan. People who've played the Pokemon games will understand. They'll say, you know, gold's better, silver's better. Look, Team Lugia. But some neighborhood kids like came up. They lived in the trailer right next to us. And like, okay, so this is the place where I told you guys where we, the field was set on fire. So I want to try to give you like a little box layout. All right. So this is the entrance to the trailer park. I'm going straight up with this. All right. Our trailer was first where these kids lived at. Their trailer was right here. And then the kid, Andrew, that trailer was like right there. So when we moved in, me and my brothers were like rather normal people. Well, I wouldn't say normal. We were about as normal as you could fucking be for kids who have been through a lot of shit. But we weren't really in like trouble or doing anything really bad. So I remember it's a couple nights later. So I don't remember why my older brother wasn't there the first couple of nights. It was just me and my middle brother. So we was like started playing with these kids. Well, he comes, and then I remember one night we were going to play like Fox and the Hound. We had a flashlight. We was gonna. It's like hide to go seek outside.
Flashlight tag.
No, you don't. If you get shined with it, it doesn't matter. You just get found. But that's just what we called it. So everybody's caught or whatever, and we're all standing underneath the street light. And one of the kids, I'm gonna name drop them. They're all like in jail and shit. From the other one, but his name was Mickey. And he starts telling this story about how there used to be another trailer, because there was a big gap in between where the kid, Andrew, where he lived, and then their neighbor. There was a big gap, which was probably just nothing. But he was like, yeah, trailer used to be there, but a couple years before they moved in, there were some other neighborhood kids. And in that trailer, there was like a disabled man. Mm-hmm. Like he was quadriplegic, couldn't move his arms and legs. So they were playing with fireworks outside. And one of the fireworks shot into his trailer and burned down the trailer. And he burned alive in there. And the kids mocked him while he was screaming. Essentially a ghost story. Yeah. So my brother's just like, oh, yeah, I heard about that. They called him the Sparkling Man. Because he came back to like kill the kids or some shit, haunt the kids or whatever. So we all were just like fucking around, just like, oh, yeah, this is like real. We all fucking. And then one of my brothers said, because you know how like gravel will shine underneath the street light. So it'll be all sparkly and shit like that. And we always said it would like lead to the forest. Where, because after all the trailers, there's a forest. There's an old couple that live there, which I'll bring up in a little bit. So we're all just like, yeah. And I forgot what, like we said about how he haunts you or whatever. But once again, like, so he was on the bed. He burned alive. Fucking whatever. So fast forward to that night. I'm sleeping in bed. And I'm like laying down in bed. And I normally face the wall. I don't know why, because it's like cooler. The wall's cold. We didn't have central heating and air, so I just had to rely off the coolness of the wall breezing me in the face. And I'm sitting there, I'm like trying to sleep, and I can't fucking sleep. At this point, listen, I was not afraid of the dark at all. I'd sleep in a dark room, wouldn't give a fuck. That's how I preferred. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. To this day, like if I'm laying in bed and it's just like pitch black in the room, I'll go like flick on like a closet light. I shit you not, to this fucking day, bro. To this goddamn day. Yeah. All right. And I'll explain more about this shit. So I'm laying there in bed and I can't get comfortable. So I like flip the pillow over. I'm like, jostling around. And finally I roll over. And when I roll over, there is a man in my bed with like no skin. I have never seen a really bad burn victim, but I could tell you what they look like. So his skin was like dark where there was skin. It was like dark pink, and like the ends were like real crisp and shit like that. He's like seared into my fucking mind. But the ends of his skin was real like crisp and flaky. And all he's doing there is like letting out this like rattled breathing in bed. He's not like screaming at me, jumping at me, none of that shit. He's just laying there, just So I jump up out of bed. I still have the covers like in my arms too, which is so weird when I think about it. But I'm screaming. I flick on the light and he's gone. So my mom and stepdad come in and they're like, hey, what happened? And I explained. I was like, there's a man in my bed who was fucking had no skin on. And so they were like, well, you were just dreaming. I was like, no, the fuck I wasn't. How do you jump up out of a dream? How was I dreaming? And then I jumped up out of bed looking at this man as I go over him, as his eyes followed me. And they were like, oh, no, it was just a dream. So the next day, I'm like, look, Robbie, you got to start sleeping in my room, all right? There is. And you see, it's ergonomically designed for 2 people. My brother, he slept in like a middle room. I don't think we had enough bedrooms for everybody. I don't know where Robbie was at that time, but I know from then on out, we didn't share a bedroom. And from ever since then, I was like, you just come room in my room. You know, Justin's lame. He's fucking, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
So he starts sleeping in the room with me. Now, how do I transition to this next part? So that kept happening. Like, I don't want you to like get desensitized from that moment, because it was very fucked up for me every time it happened. It wasn't like, oh, hey, bud, like, oh, you're here. I kept fucking seeing him at night.
Well, maybe that's what you had to do to get that to go away. It's just be like, hey, man, are you doing all right?
Listen, I wish that would have done it. So one night I'm laying in bed and I hear him. Okay. And this whole time, I'm like, look, this is a dream. This is not real. Whatever's happening, it's in my fucking mind. All right. So I'm laying there and I hear his breathing right behind me. And Robert goes, hey, are you okay breathing like that? And I'm talking about when he said that. Have you ever been on a roller coaster and you know when you go down the hill, it feels like your whole like
your stomach drops.
Like my stomach dropped from then. I didn't even when I jumped out, because every time I jump out of the bed and flick on the light, because I just felt like it was like I juke him out and he couldn't catch me. So I do it again, but I don't look, and I like flipped on the light and I was like, I wasn't breathing like that. So over time, like Robbie was like half in, half not, because weird shit would fucking happen all the fucking time. Like all the time. So Robbie, like I said, he was like half in, half out of it. Justin didn't believe shit. He didn't give a fuck. He didn't even care. He was like, that's not real. But over time though, Justin would he got progressively like more violent towards everybody, like outright. And since we left there, like he was in and out of like mental homes and shit like that through the time that this happened. Cause it went to another house too. Once we left that one, I don't know why the fuck like it would eventually end, but he went in and out of like mental health places. And I don't know how much shit would like grandpa was like in on that too. Cause like I said, I was a kid, so I really only have my perspective, but you know, he's the older brother. So it always felt like he was safe. Like I couldn't rely on my parents for shit, bro. Yeah. So it's like going to them with anything is just, that would be like how to make the problem worse. So I always felt like he was like our saving grace. Like if things could get bad, like he would always make us feel better. And he would just be like, bro, there's no such thing as ghosts. It's, you know, you're
making,
yeah,
it's in your head.
It's in your head. You're dreaming. And he doesn't think I'm like making it up but because, you know, Robbie had started talking about this shit too. So, but he just kept getting progressively more angry. And I remember one day we're all just chilling and him, my mom, and stepdad got into an argument. And then the neighbor guy, the parents of those kids, because they were like, everybody was like real fucking normal at this point, but they're all like doing weird shit, getting into weird shit, fucking arguing over there. So one day they're all out there arguing, and my brother, I don't know, you remember how couches used to be made, right? Mm-hmm. You could just like grab one of the little buttons that were on the couch. Well, when you pull those out, it's a long fucking pointy thing at the end. So he had grabbed that and was essentially chasing like my stepdad, my mom, he wasn't chasing us, but he was like out there chasing those guys. So he got arrested and put back into a mental institution. And from there, it was like progressively getting worse. I watch so many horror movies. I love horror movies. Cause I don't know why, you know, it's like trauma people, whatever happened to them, they, you know, it's weird. But I was watching this one that, man, it fucking hurts to watch. Cause it just feels like that's what we did. But it was the one where they're all on like webcam. Mm-hmm. And what they do is they're having a seance. So this girl talks about a friend in school that died. Yeah. And then she completely made it up to fuck with the seance person. She had lost connection. Have you seen that movie?
Yeah, I think I watched
it. I'm loosely explaining it for someone who hasn't listened. But essentially, she made that person up, which gave something else like the okay to fucking come through. Yeah, come through as that person. And that's what it just, man, when I saw that, it's just like, the graphic at the end where the thing pops out was really cheesy as fuck. But that whole movie, like, it was so hard for me to breathe, and nothing, like, there's no horror movie that fucks with me.
Well, like I think the not seeing, like having your mental,
Like Blair
like,
Witch.
well, my favorite is like Paranormal Activity, like one of the first couple, like because there's so
where
much
you never see
suspense
it.
being built, and then like I mean, like when the sheet goes up and then like all of a sudden she gets dragged out of the bed, I was like, that's creepy. Like
That is.
and like there's no monster that they're showing or anything like that, but like that in your mind is like, that's fucking crazy. And
crazy.
those are like, you don't have to have like the scariest monster or anything like that. Like, I mean, sometimes it's done well, but it's way harder to do on screen seeing a monster or a demon or anything than it is to just you come up with it in your brain. Like just like you as a viewer, like you think how crazy this could be. And that's like way more anxiety.
Because
like
your brain's just making up the scariest possible, which, you know, fucking you can't relay in a movie.
Yeah.
So I always used to go to my stepdad. He has a brother that's my age.
Mm-hmm.
So I always used to hang out with him. He was my best friend forever. Start smoking a lot of weed. We don't relate to each other anymore. Shit happens. His mom, a saint though. That's why I was like, how the fuck are you so fucked up if you came from a good family, bro? Great family. Like they're like tight knit, love each other. I haven't seen them in forever, and I'm so scared to go over there because I feel like they'll think that, you know. But I used to always stay over there. Love them to death.
Yeah.
Sweetest people ever. So I'd go over there and shit wouldn't happen. And I was like, oh man, I love it here. Especially because the summertime, I would just like, bro, if they didn't have shit to do, I could just be over there, which was a great reprieve just from
the regular normal life.
Even when there's no ghost, you know what I'm saying? Just it was a great reprieve. But while we were living there, man, I spent the night one night, and then I wake up and I'm like sitting there eating breakfast, and she comes up to me and she's like, "Hey, you know, how do you feel after last night?" And I was like, "What do you mean about last night?" She was like, "Well, you came in. I had woken up. I went into their room." And then I told them that I needed to get home. So then I go over to like the door, and I'm like sitting there like I would play with the lock, and then I'd like rattle the doorknob, and I'd play with the lock, and I would do that all the fucking time, saying I have to get home, which was bleh. I don't like that. So we go back to the house. Now where this one is like this area is about to be over with. It was one night. We were all like, the kids were outside playing. So it's like maybe 1 o'clock in the morning. So what's cool is their parents and our parents would just go off and do drugs together. So it was like, the world is your oyster at that point. So we're out at like midnight fucking playing, goofing off. So there was a real sweet elderly couple and we always just looked at them like, oh, they're fucking adorable and shit. And the old guy hated us. He hated us for some reason.
You were hooligans,
right? You're so loud, but the old lady was very, very sweet. So we're all sitting there playing, man, and I shit you not, we look over, and at the end of the driveway near the woods, they're just over there dancing in their pajamas at midnight. Old people.
That's a haunting,
right? And it felt so like fucking. It just felt so weird. It felt so weird, and a lot of like because. I don't know if it was me or it's just like kids being like, oh yeah, I had that happen to me too. But I would always have dreams where like the rocks would like push off into the woods. Like it's like saying, hey, fucking, you know, come into the woods. And they're sitting there like dancing in pajamas, old people. They go to bed at like fucking 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock's like they're being a little what is it, mischievous. Yeah, they're being a little mischievous staying up that late. But then they just like walk into the woods. And I'm just like, well, I'm not stupid. Okay, I've seen this rodeo, brother. So I just go back inside because I'm like, look, this is not how it's going to be, man. And do you know, it's like the almost the penultimate to every haunting movie you ever seen, where like shit starts like moving, and it's like the really, really bad night.
Yeah.
So that starts happening. The great thing is it was summertime, so. Like I said, I would spend most of the time there, and then I'd go to my friend's house. So I went back over there, and then during that time, I didn't know this, but obviously when you do drugs, you can't pay bills. My mom and stepdad had not been paying bills, so we were getting kicked out, which is like, brother, the lottery.
Yeah.
Because I was like, fuck yes, I ain't got to be there anymore. So now, I guess my grandpa, like I said, he had bought it or was paying the mortgage on it. And he was like, yeah, as long as y'all can pay the mortgage. So there was always like a half and half would we go back. So the first house we go to, I think I'm still at the like Union Hill Elementary. I can't remember what school I was at the time. I went to so many fucking schools just moving around, which is what happens when your parents do drugs. But we went to this first house, and like I said, it was like a back and forth of where they were going to pay my grandpa or not. So we were at that house for like 2 weeks. House burns down. Fire in the basement. Yep, fucks the whole house up while we were sleeping there too. Sleeping there. So then we go to the second house. We always like cracked on my mom because she would cook fried chicken and the house would burn down that night. So it wasn't from her cooking chicken, but we would always joke with her and never make fried chicken again. She'll tell you to this day she won't make fried chicken.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. So we go to the second house. Now the second house, I see him. We had just watched It Too, the little made for TV series, which I didn't get. It was not scary at all. So I see him, and my stepdad did this little cutesy thing where like I saw him that night. I woke up screaming. He brought me like the It clown, or just like a clown asleep because we had just watched It. Like he was just trying to be funny. And I hammed it up for him. I was like, oh, it's a clown. I don't give a fuck about that. I give a fuck about the thing that is actually here. That is actually fucking here. So that, like I said, it was a span of 2, maybe 3 months. We lived in 2 houses that burnt down back to back. So then we moved to the house that I told everybody I lived there the longest for like 6 years. So there, probably like a month in, I would lay down in bed and then I would just be at the trailer. Like as soon as I laid down and went to sleep, boom, I'm at the trailer. And I fucking like, he would just be like sitting in a chair. The dude with no skin would just, okay, yeah. Dylan's going to restart his camera so we can watch him listen intently while I ramble through this ghost story.
This is what the people wanted.
We're giving them what they wanted. Literally asked for this. So, so the trailer was pretty much like our room, another room, living room, back was the parents' room. Yep. That's how it was designed. And I would always be just sitting in the chair at the living room. So he would sit down, like he'd just be sitting right there on the couch that was there when
the burnt guy would be there.
Yeah. But also too, the house was like, it's just like, there's no furniture. There's the love seat that he would sit on. And then everything is like fucking the way we left it. So he's sitting there on the couch and then he would just like stand up and he'd run to the back room. And I'm too scared to fucking move. And then like, I'd just be frozen there too. I couldn't like fucking move around or nothing. And then he would come from the back and just run directly at me.
And then you wake up or no?
Half-ass. Okay. So this is the part where I really this is the worst shit. Because with him, yeah, it was fucking scary. Nothing happened though. You know what I'm saying? Like he wasn't fucking hurting me or some shit. So every time he would do that, I would wake up in my bed. I would be in my bedroom. I could hear Robert. The way we slept in this room though is I was like, oh, okay, so here's the room, here's the entrance, here's my bed, here's a bathroom, and here's where Robbie slept. I would be in my bed and I would wake up and the bathroom was right here at the foot of my bed so I could see directly into it. And every time he would do that, I would wake up to the bathroom door being open, and inside the bathroom door is just a crowd of people just standing. And there was like this weird fucking green looking light that was just like shining on him from over top. It looked so there was a guy that stood in front that was bald and he always creeped me out the most. I would see him every fucking night, the whole crowd.
Why the fuck aren't we making this movie?
Wait a second. We've not got to the main villain yet. We've not got to the main villain.
This is like the perfect, this is actually a Mike Lore story. I have heard nothing. I don't like talking about it because even now, like, I don't feel good getting to her. So, I remember, I just get like getting the feelings of seeing like the shit. I remember we went to a church. We always would go to churches. My brothers actually stole from church. I have a joke on that. The one where they steal all the money and we go get Taco Bell.
And they got kicked out of church. I didn't, because I didn't do nothing wrong. And that guy was the first person to take me to a movie theaters. I saw Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Pretty sure he was like molesting the kids. I don't know. He could have just been a nice guy, but he was like really, really wanting to hang out with the
Youth
kids.
pastor type?
Yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah. He was really wanting to hang out with the kids. Allegedly, yeah. I don't remember much about him. So we start going to this church, and we go on a church like camp thing. So we're at or what do you call it? It's church camp.
Yeah, church camp.
I always told a joke in stand-up too. Church camp is like a timeshare opportunity for adults, because you go to a place where you listen to a guy talk about a place that you probably never go to. I forgot how I fucking worded the joke. It was really funny, but
that was always where all my friends would go and hook up, like with multiple different people.
Everybody was like so bad there. Justin actually acted the best during this time, because like I said, he was getting into a bit of a pickle, and then he kind of normaled out after we left. So we're there, and I remember like this guy's talking about, how, the devil tries to get you. He's got the demons working for him and shit like that. So I just go up to him after everybody. This is also one of the weird churches too, where like they all like gather around in a circle while like someone's getting got by the Holy Ghost,
like speaking in tongues and stuff. Yeah.
I was just like looking around. Some of the other kids were just like, we're not that deep into it, bro. They got water slides here. They did have water slides. That's dope. Like, that was dope. Yeah. So I go and talk to him, and I'm like, hey, I tell him, I'm like, hey, every night that I wake up, I'm seeing they're not good. I'm not getting a good feeling from this.
No, they're not here to make me happy.
And he said, well, anytime you're having a bad dream like that, I'm like, it's not a dream. I'm sitting there, I'm looking, I'm awake. If somebody comes into the room, I can see the fucking person come into the room. Like, I am awake. And he's like, well, anytime you're having a bad dream, all you have to do is say, Jesus' name. And that's going to fucking really get them. And I thought, bro, I had the silver bullet. Yeah. Like, you couldn't tell me shit. And nothing was happening at the church camp too. I was like, bro, Jesus all around these, just beating up fucking demons and shit. So we leave the church camp, which was, it just feels weird. We leave the church camp and we go back home, all right, which I did not want to do. Also, I had started like acting out in school and everything. It was just it was a very, very bad time for me. I went from like, I was just like straight nerd to now I was like, the kid that would, I wasn't really, really bad at this point, but I was like, lashing out from a bad home life and shit that was happening. So I'm laying there, we get home. It was the day after we got home. My dad, the guy I called dad, he was like, oh, I'm gonna come get your kids to hang out with you. Never came, never showed up.
Didn't even get your brothers or nothing.
No, just didn't. That's normally what he would do. Like, he favored them, but they still never fucking saw him because he just didn't come around.
Yeah.
So I'm laying in bed and I see him, and I'm just like, ooh, I got you motherfuckers now. I can't say shit though. So I'm just like thinking it, and I'm mean mugging the shit out of him. I'm like, go the fuck away. Go the fuck away. So then I remember the bald guy who always used to freak me out. I'm telling you, I was like, that's like the main guy. So he just kind of shifts he's a big dude, and he's like I want to describe how this guy looks, because he's got like a big head and he's got like a gullet. So he's like a real fat guy. Mm-hmm. And it just like sits on, and he has like this just old shit on. Not even old, like it's like a monk, kind of like the Clever Psych shit, but not goofy looking. It's just, ugh. But I always thought he was the main person. So he just kind of like moves to the side. And from between everybody comes this old lady. And I mean, she's old. Her face is old. She ain't got no eyeball. There's no eyes at all. There's nothing there. And she moved without moving, bro. Like, she would just, floating, almost hover along. Yeah. And she would just, I want to finish describing her. Okay, so she has like a black dress on, but the black dress is very, very pretty. Like, it's like you would think it was like not like fucking fat dude dressing. Yeah. Obviously, this lady had some taste. All right. So I'm petrified. And I'm just like, a lot of things race through my mind, but I'm like, oh, maybe it's a nice meemaw with no eyeballs. She had, bro, like, everybody in the fucking crowd looked old, like from a different time. Yeah. And she looked like from our time. So she comes out from like the middle of everybody and then comes into my bed. And this is the same thing that would happen night after night. She would come into my bed and just get on my chest. And then she would just put her hands like this and just, she would do it from far back to let me know it was coming, brother, every fucking time. And then she would just press down. And I could feel it. I could feel how she was pressing down. It was like she was pressing down with her thumbs right here. So I could breathe very little. And the craziest part is I'd start hearing that rattling sound that the other guy made. And it felt so fucking weird. I mean, obviously it's terrifying.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about every single night from house to house to house that I move into, she did that.
How long did that last? Like how?
To this day.
Still?
Yep, to this day.
You still
It's
have
like
those?
bi-monthly she shows up. And it always happens the same way too. It's when I try to go to sleep and everybody in the house is awake. At nighttime, like I'm like, oh, it's 8:30. I'm gonna go sneak and get me a little bit of sleep. I'll wake up, the door will be open, she'll just come right the fuck in.
Isn't it just her now, or is it
Yeah, it's
still
just
the
her.
whole
I've never
crowd?
seen, since we moved out of that house, I've never seen the other people. Never seen them. Her, I see all the fucking time though.
Is there any correlation to anything that's going on in your life, or anything that's like
If
you're
it
in,
gets like too stressful or something like that,
Yeah.
I don't know.
you haven't noticed any patterns with it or anything? See, I've had scary dreams and scary situations, but nothing that's consistently like, I mean, there's always been like time periods where like I'll have the same nightmare of, like being locked in a room and like being able to see through the keyhole and shit going on. And like, it's been scary at a point in time in my life, but none of it has like continued on throughout my life. Like, that's wild that it still goes on to this day though.
To this day, man. And it's, I don't know. Now when I see her, I'm just like, meh.
So,
But also too, man, bro, I'll go to sleep. I'll be in the middle of Walmart's parking lot. I shit you not. Just like, why here?
see,
I've never seen her at a different place though. I've never seen anybody. Like I saw the crowd of people there. And then when I would at the house, if I'd go back to the trailer, I'd see the sparkling man. But I've never seen anybody else. I've seen
places.
Insidious where they talk about astral travel and shit like that. I don't believe that. I believe that's like actual dream. But anywhere else, I don't see anything. Only the other trailer, I see Sparkling Man, and then the...
Do you still have those dreams though, ever?
Nope.
Or those are gone?
Nope. He went away.
So it's just the old lady now?
Yeah.
Still eyeless? And
We need to look, though, see if anybody... Because I don't know what happened, if they transitioned to that or what, but it's never gotten like... Amy will tell us too, because me and Lily like to go to graveyards at night and look around and shit. And she'll be like, oh, something's going to latch on. I was like, bitch, something's been latched on for like fucking 25 years now. So
they're going to have to fight that bitch too.
All right, yeah. Good luck taking that thing down. I've been trying to get rid of her forever.
Well, that's like you took your daughter to Lydia's Bridge in Jamestown. And like I went out there, I think it was like Christmas Day, like 2017, I think. Might have been 2016. Yeah, it was 2016. And I'd just broken up with like a longtime girlfriend, and I was getting really heavy into like photography and everything. And so I was going there to do light painting, where like I light steel wool on fire and spin it, and then like get to see all the sparks and everything. And like I'm not super like, oh, haunted or anything. Like it's a cool bridge, and like it's not in use anymore. It's abandoned. But like I wasn't like, oh, Lydia's gonna be there and blah blah blah. So like, but then you still have that in the back of your mind. You're just like, meh, maybe it could be creepy. And so I walk in there, and like, mind you, by myself, kind of cold, like just eerie feeling anyways. And when I walk in, there's like bloody clothes and like hair and shit there. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, oh no. And like, so like I've got flashlights and stuff too for the light painting stuff. So I'm like, all right, just let me check. Cause like, there could have been somebody murdered there or something. And so I walk around, and I'm like just trying to scope out the place and like slowly get closer to like this bloody pile of clothes and all that. And then I look, like once I finally get close enough and it was a Halloween costume, I was like, oh.
That shit's rough though, man. Because the worst part too is like when you're asleep in the middle of the night, and like you would look over and it'd be like a vacuum cleaner or something you left there, and you'd be like, what the fuck is that? Because I can see all the other things. Clearly you're a shadow monster. I don't like I'm desensitized really to the other things.
Yeah, no.
So also, so I learned a couple things from this too. So if you're ever having um like sleep paralysis, blinking, blinking can get you out of it.
Well, that is something.
I've learned how to like stop it too, because they'll be like, oh, you can't move at all. You can't move anything. Can't scream. That's the worst part, is not being able to fucking yell for anybody, say anything. But blinking can fucking, and then finally you can move and shit. So,
well, that's one of the things that I have battled though, is like, you know, being in a dream in a scenario, and like I don't remember a ton of my dreams, so like, you know, I can't give a specific example, but a lot of times, like if there's like a threat or something that like I know what to do in that moment, but can't physically do it, like just being stuck or not being able to talk or not being able to breathe, and like in that moment, I'm like, I can handle this if you just let me fucking move.
yeah,
But
right.
you just can't move. And like, I don't know that I'd be mindful enough to like start blinking inside the dream. Like I'm not, there is that thing called like lucid dreaming, like where you can like take part in it. And my dad actually had a book on it.
Yeah,
and
you learn though. You learn.
yeah, I guess if an old lady's going to be choking you out all the time, you figure out how to do that.
I am hype. Like I am fucking hyper aware if I'm having a dream. What's funny too is I used to have a reoccurring dream of like Tales from the Crypt. And I loved him too, and he was not scary, but I'd always be in that fucking castle, and he'd like try to tickle my armpits. I hated that shit. That's what every monster in my dreams would do.
Except for
none of that shit. They didn't. Like I said, besides the old lady, I wouldn't be touched or nothing. I'd just be fucking laying there, and then she would. I remember one time, what's that band name called? It's some screamo shit. Which I'm sorry, I don't like screamo. I can't understand it.
I just went to watch a emo show like 2 days ago. It was great.
It's the name of like Attila. Okay, Attila. My friend was showing me Attila, and you don't hurt a friend's feeling. So they're just sitting there like blah 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 blah. He lived with us. His name's Scott. But he's showing me that, and I was like, I'm sleepy. So I go to sleep. Well, to Attila playing, which is, I guess, not the greatest time to go to sleep. So he's laying right next to me. And I'm just like, man, this is before I had mastered blinking. I've mastered it now. I am the blinking champion. But because I had thought she had stopped coming for a while. So it's crazy that you brought that up. But she had stopped coming for a while until when I left my parents' house, and then because we had moved to Denton. And from Denton, that's when I left to live with my brothers before we all lost the house and went homeless and shit. Yeah. At that house on Amherst Street. I don't know if I've ever showed you that. I got to show it to you. But that's when she came back, and I was like, this bitch is going to be around forever. At this point, I don't want to be like, it's not at the point where it's like a hindrance on my life, so I don't want to like go to like a fucking priest or something like that. And he's like, we're going to make this bad.
We're going to make her more pissed.
Yeah, right. Yeah, to where she starts doing shit. I don't know, but ain't no thing but a chicken wing now. Essentially, it's I don't want to say non-issue. I don't want to talk about it or anything, give them more power too. So maybe people don't need to see this. Yeah, maybe we need to stop that.
No, I think that's the crazy thing though, is like I'm not saying that paranormal stuff isn't real, but also, like there has to be some sort of mental connection going on. Like I struggle to think that it's like, this demon lady that like, what's the activity? Like what's the point behind, her
why
terrorizing
my brain
you?
making her up? And
not necessarily like there's things like, because ultimately our brains are basically like a computer system. So I'm not saying it's not real, like especially because like all that shit feels real. Like, I mean, even there's a really cool documentary being done on MEO, DMT, whatever. I can't remember all the names. But like the people that take that hallucinogen, for the most part, go to the same place.
Which is so crazy, because I really feel like I've been there without fucking doing DMT.
Well, because the place exists. Like, that's basically what I'm trying to get at, is like that place exists somehow in the hardware or whatever software that's going on in our brain. Like the fact that different people go to the same fucking place, like
we're so close to like JRE right now.
Yeah, but like I mean, that's my favorite parts of JRE is like the actual like introspection. Like when you start talking about politics, and that's why I like that we don't like go deep into that, because like what the fuck do we know about it?
Right.
Like
Yeah, we're
and
not
like
economists here.
yeah, don't talk to us about like we have our own opinions, but they're not like backed up with like
And now
research
economists are
stuff.
just like, why aren't you guys buying diamonds? Bitch, we are poor, super poor.
I didn't buy them beforehand, and I still ain't gonna buy them.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Like, but that's the thing that I'm kind of getting at though with your haunting situation is like, it's not that it's not real. There's like factors of it that have to have some, like, there's a foundation that was laid that allows that to happen in your brain. Not to like, my hard part is it a demon? Like, because I don't really believe in demons and things like that anyways, but like, what is her goal, or what is the purpose, and what is all that behind like you being haunted at night? Because like it doesn't actually like impact what you're not like going out there and like affecting society in a way, so like they're not getting any objectives done that way. So like it is something going on in your head, but like where did it start, how did it come to be? And like I just am saying, like, I don't think, you know, she's gonna get all pissed off tonight and be like, fuck you, Mike, you did a podcast on me. I mean, maybe I could be wrong.
No, because almost what you're saying kind of feels true. I could tell you unequivocally there's something out there. There is, like, that's why, I'm not really religious. I don't believe in the stories, but I do believe there. Like I said, I believe in God. I believe that we were given free will, which means the absence of interference at all. Like it's 100%. It's not, if you get cancer, he's not going to heal your cancer. We have a free will is the complete, like you are doing you, whatever happens.
Yeah.
Like when you get cancer or when a child gets cancer, and it's very unfortunate, it sucks. But that is, humankind kind of doing what humankind does. And like I said, fucking, I 100% believe that, we have a creator, that he's up there. And I do believe that there is the yang to that, which is the bad shit.
Yeah.
Because I've seen people be affected by it. Like I've seen, like, if it was something going on with just me, but there was just a lot of shit that happened too, where, Justin fucking loses his goddamn mind at that place. And a lot of shit between, me and Robbie. Robbie was also fucking terrified of that place too. So, I mean, it's once the experience starts to get like shared, and I don't know if, cause I'm younger, that it latches on. Like, we talk about her too. Even if she gets stronger, bitch, I'm way stronger than when I was a kid. That's also how I view it too. It's just like, this bitch, she could try to get as strong as she wants to. I don't give a fuck. But I'm always gonna be like that notch above her, because I don't know. I guess if I was like, in like a really, maybe it's when I get into like really low spots that she tries to be like, can I choke this motherfucker today?
See, I think like, but you did have a lot of trauma, and like there is a lot of things that happened in your life that
absolutely,
that could be your mind's way of like playing this out in a different, like you feel helpless. So like this situation, and like, and I'm not like, once again, I don't discount anybody's, like, because like I believe there's like other life forms out there. There's gotta be there. It's just impossible that, so like we don't know enough to come down as like truth or not truth. Like, and your experience is your truth, and like you have to deal with that however you deal with it. The only thing that I bring up though is like, your brother's acting out. Like there's people, like you said, your stepfather, perfect fucking upbringing, and somehow still becomes a crackhead. And like, so with your brothers and stuff, you guys did not have a perfect upbringing. So him lashing out and becoming a fucking hooligan and like violent and
absolutely
stuff it's not expected. And so like, and once again, it's just one of those things of like, there's no way to know. Like people, like some of the people that your grandfather abused, like some of them probably packed shit away in a place that,
brother, our whole lineage, and that's why like I'll talk shit, but like our whole fucking, as far as you go back, just has been through, like my mom, I talk a lot of shit about my mom. at the end of the day, she made me feel loved as a child, which is, well, my mom went through shit, bro, that would fold anybody listening to this podcast. Like, she went through shit, like, which is makes me feel bad about me talking about my childhood, because then it's like, fuck, this lady fucking going through her shit. But
well, and you're always trying to do better for your kids. Like, I mean, your kids, like, I mean, you probably, like, they're still gonna have whatever things that fucked them up that you did. Like, nobody comes out of childhood unscathed. Like, you're not gonna be perfect, but you know, your mom tried to do better than was done to her, and you've tried to do better than what was done to you. And I think, like, that's the whole progress thing. And hopefully, you know, your kids come out far better.
Hopefully, yeah.
Like,
I don't know. I'm pretty, I feel like I'm a good father.
well, that's the thing, is you did overcome certain things, and you're passing that along the best you can. Because, like, you can actually go too far and fuck up.
Yeah, that's what I feel like I'm doing. I feel like I'm raising turd biscuits. They do seem pretty put together. That's what I get scared of, though, is that, like, last night, Oliver wouldn't eat some pizza. It was like Walmart frozen pizza.
Yeah.
And he was like whining and complaining because, you know, his stomach did hurt last week. So he was saying it hurt again, which makes me scared too, because I'm just like, wow, what the fuck's going on? But then it kind of came apparent that he just didn't want the pizza. So I call him in there and I was like, look, we can just go to the hospital, bro. Let's just go right now. I had lost my temper. I was editing working on the outro and the clips and shit to put the podcast on places. And, you know, it's very frustrating when you're spending a lot of time on something and you're like, this is going to do nothing. So, you know, I'm trying to do that. And he's just like, he's standing at the door just whining.
Well, and you don't want to not believe him if something
right.
really
Yeah.
is going
Yeah.
on.
That's the shitty part too, is I'm like, fuck, he's got me in like this catch-22. So I'm like, fuck it. You know, we're going to go to the hospital. And, cause I was like, something's wrong, bro. Something's obviously wrong. If it's still hurting now, the doctor said, but there's 2 different doctors said, you're good now. So let's go. And he's like, no, I don't want to go. And then finally I'm like, oh, what the fuck are you doing, bro? So I sit down and I'm like, come here. And I was like, do you need to go to the doctor? Or do you need a hug? And he was like, I just need a hug. And I was like, I hug him. And I'm like, thinking the whole time, I'm like, I'm such a fucking turd. So
you're not. No, like, I mean, you're in a situation that is, it's hard because you don't know in that moment how to, like, convey the information that, like, hey man, like, if you don't want to do something, just fucking say the words.
That's what I said.
Of, like,
so that's what me and him's trying to do too. That's what we're going through right now, because he will have a problem with something and just not tell anybody. He'll just go wander off to the back. And I'm like, hey man, we got to talk about our feelings, bro. Like, we have to tell, if you don't tell me what's wrong, there's nothing I can work on that makes this better. There's nothing I can tell you that's going to make you feel better. And that's that's literally the conversation we had afterwards too. I was like, does your belly hurt, or were you just very, very upset? And he was just like, I was very upset, which makes my belly hurt a little bit. So it's still rough, because everything you do, you feel like you're doing just the complete wrong way.
If you were to go back, and like my parents, I consider them saints. Like, they did fucking as best they could, but there's still stuff that I look back on and I'm like, I'm gonna try and do that different. But those are the moments, like, right there where I'm sorry, but your parents would not have done what you just did. And, like, even though you might have been an ass for a second, you showed up for him and taught him a lesson in that moment that, I'm sorry, you never got as a kid. I don't, at least from your stories, like, I doubt that anybody really sat down and, like, worked that through. Like, okay,
I mean, I had an old lady sit on me, but that's about no one sat down to talk about our feelings. But look, guys, I think this is a good stopping point for today's episode, because I have to go pick up a kid from school too. So
yeah, we got life to do outside of this.
Yeah, man. Like I said, what we were talking about earlier, making life better without possibly being inconvenienced.
Not at all. Gotta love it.
But look, it's life. We get through it.
Did the lady have a name, or have you given her a name?
No.
Okay.
No, so Sparkling Man is Sparkling Man. Like, he's always been Sparkling Man.
Yeah.
Which is lame too, because I was going to write like a Reddit story on it one time, and I was like, the Sparkling Man. I was like, that sounds gay. A lot of it just sounds real dumb.
Oh no, dude, that was like, honestly, I not to piss any of the spirits off, but like, I think that would be a great fucking movie. I'm
not going to get gay with it. All right, later, guys.
Later.
Check out, also, if you want more Am I the Assholes, check out Two Daddies Judging Baddies.
2DJB.
2DJB. I'll see you next time.
Later.